Government's made it very clear to Twitter, this is an internal matter. It's being investigated within the country and Twitter should not interfere. But after Twitter tagged Sambit Patra's tweets as manipulated media, it led to a huge furor. The Congress party came out all guns blazing, attacking the government, saying it's not just Sambit Patra, that union ministers who shared these tweets and amplified them, action should be taken against them too.
Big embarrassment for the BJP. Just days after its spokesperson Sambit Patra tweeted a document claiming it's a toolkit prepared by the Congress to defame Prime Minister Modi, Twitter has flagged it as manipulated media. The microblogging site's move comes after a series of FIRs against the BJP leaders by his rivals. The Congress also complained to Twitter against what it called a fake campaign by the BJP.
सरकार से उम्मीद थी कि लोगों के आंसू पोंछें, कुछ राहत पहुंचाएं, लेकिन सरकार और सत्ताधारी पार्टी एक काम में मशगूल रही, व्यस्त रही। कैसे विपक्षी दल को बदनाम करना है, नकली कागज बनाने हैं, लेटरहेड चुराने हैं, फोर्ज करना है।
On May 18th, BJP leader Sambit Patra had held an explosive press meet as well, brandishing what he alleged was proof of a big conspiracy by the Congress to malign the image of Prime Minister Modi using the coronavirus pandemic.
टूलकिट के माध्यम से एडवाइस दिया जा रहा है कार्यकर्ताओं को कि क्या करना है, खास करके सोशल मीडिया के कार्यकर्ताओं कि सोशल मीडिया में क्या डालना है। प्राइम मिनिस्टर मोदीज इमेज को लेकर एक कॉलम बना है और उसमें क्या लिखा है? The approval ratings of the Prime Minister Modi has been high and have not dipped despite crisis and mismanagement. This is an opportunity to destroy his image and erode his popularity.
The BJP's charges triggered a huge political fight. The Congress ended up filing FIRs against the BJP leader. Meanwhile, Twitter has said it follows an impartial procedure to flag misleading tweets. This is how it works. It is not automated. The social media website uses its own technology to filter content what it thinks as manipulative and also uses third-party expertise. The action is taken based on the level of violation.
Political parties in India have been often caught on the wrong side by this net policing. This incident yet again exposes the vulnerability of the ruling party to fall for misinformation. This is Anand Patel in New Delhi for India Today.
So the government has come down hard on Twitter, saying it should stop interfering in an investigation. The probe is on. The government has directed Twitter to remove the manipulated tweet. Joining me on the show, Supriya Srinath represents the Congress, Guru Prakash Paswan represents the Bharatiya Janata Party. Supriya Srinath, the government says there is a probe underway and Twitter cannot and should not interfere in investigations into the toolkit, and Twitter is no one to declare whether it's genuine or manipulated, ma'am.
You know, I find it very strange that each time the BJP is cornered or they are caught with their hands hand in glove, they want to come out and then say, you know, internal probe is on and nobody should interfere. They are the ones who take social media to a storm. Why? I mean, I'm just asking a question. Today they're telling Twitter, do not put manipulated media, but that's a standard practice that Twitter follows the world over. On what basis did their spokesperson go on air to say what he did? And then, of course, the entire party shared that document. To my mind, it is not just the spokesperson who manipulated the data, forged the data, used the letterhead, manipulated it, but it is every minister in the government who shared it. And may I also add one very small thing here, which I think has missed most people. This was an original document on Central Vista that was manipulated, it was forged, and then things were added to this. Completely fictitious, a figment of BJP's imagination. But even in their imagination, they are the ones who were calling the Prime Minister incompetent. They are the ones calling Amit Shah missing. quarantine Jaishankar, sidelined Rajnath, and insensitive Nirmala Sitharaman. They are the ones who are saying that the government has been caught napping. They are the ones who are talking about, you know, many missing links. The reality, Gaurav, is, and with all due respect to the BJP, I only want to say, at a time like this, when our country is battling with the pandemic, I wish the ruling party was focusing its energies, emotions, and efforts on helping people, on ensuring people are vaccinated, on ensuring people get oxygen and treatment, instead of doing what they're doing, manipulating, forging, and indulging in fraud.
Guru Prakash Paswan, the Congress says BJP lies have been exposed, and not just lies of Sambit Patra, but you heard Supriya Srinath, she's saying all the ministers who amplified the tweet that Twitter added, manipulated tweet to your colleague's tweet on that alleged Congress party toolkit. Now, Congress says that's not ours.
Gaurav, there are a couple of points which I would like to bring your kind attention. First, Twitter is a non-state actor. Twitter has no role to play in the domestic affairs of the country. Second, and most importantly, we must understand that the senior leadership of the Congress party, whatever is mentioned in the toolkit, they were following it step by step. The usage of the word India variant, who used it first? Mr. Shashi Tharoor, who used to be the Minister of External Affairs. Only today, a video has come out where Mr. Kamal Nath has categorically asked their karyakarta, "Ye aag lagane ka samay hai, aag lagaiye aap log." When the country is facing one of the most unprecedented crises, this is what you expect from the grand old party of the country. This is unacceptable. This is unlawful. And as far as the actions of Twitter is concerned, we have made it clear to them, and I am sure Twitter has no role to play, but the Congress party lies exposed in front of the entire country today. Their strategy, in their quest to defame the Prime Minister, they are defaming the country, the citizens, and that is unlawful.
No, but they're saying that toolkit is not theirs at all. You know, at least that part about defaming the country and the Prime Minister. Mr. Guru Prakash Paswan, before, Supriya Srinath wants to come in, but go on, ma'am.
You know, Gaurav, quite simply, the kind of things and the mismanagement that we have seen and the losses of lives, the loss of lives that could have been averted, the complete abdication of responsibility by the central government. You don't need a toolkit to expose this government. You don't need a toolkit to tell you the truth. You can just see things around. There are people who are wailing. There are people whose near and dear ones have died. Is there anybody? I mean,
but Supriya Srinath, if I may, on that wider debate, you've been a guest on my show, yes. But if I could restrict ourselves, and request all our guests to stay on the issue of the toolkit and the current controversy.
But that's exactly what I'm saying. Do you need a toolkit to expose this government? You can see things around.
The point that Guru Prakash Paswan raised, the very specific point that he raised was the Indian variant. The toolkit, or that alleged toolkit mentions an Indian variant. He says your leaders from Shashi Tharoor to Rahul Gandhi have used the Indian variant. Even the World Health Organization hasn't done that, ma'am.
The alleged toolkit also talks about an insensitive finance minister missing Amit Shah, a quarantined Jaishankar and a sidelined Rajnath Singh, and also talks about the incompetence of Prime Minister Modi. It also says dramatic pictures of funerals and dead bodies. Just see how low they can stoop to, how low they can go to score a political brownie point. But the reality is, at a time like this, I think it is a useless debate. The Congress said it was false. We took legal action. The fact checkers said it was false. And now the social media platform is saying it is false. It is very convenient for the BJP to today
none of it is legal, admissible as evidence in a court of law.
Gaurav, let me finish, please.
My point is, what part of the toolkit is manipulated? Your party did concede, ma'am, that the toolkit on the Central Vista was genuine after your colleague Soumya Varma's name emerged in public domain.
You are completely wrong there. I am glad you're asking me that question. Give me the chance to clarify.
Yes, ma'am.
A, do not use the word toolkit for Central Vista. It was a research document, and yes, Soumya Varma was one of the authors of that research document. It was a PDF document. If you right click on any document, it gives you the properties, and that's called the metadata. And the property was of the Central Vista document, and we believe that Central Vista is a completely useless exercise at a time like this. Properties from that document were just picked up, headers were taken, our letterhead stolen. forged, fraudulent stuff was put in, and that was floated. If they are so sanctimonious about it, I challenge Sambit, Patra and his ilk to come on national television and show the properties of the alleged toolkit that they are talking about. Central Vista is a genuine document. It's out in public domain. You can go and check the properties. Those are the properties they are alleging belong to this. This
Guru
fraud
Prakash
has to
Paswan.
stop. These lies have to stop.
Okay.
That is all that I'm saying.
Twitter policy says a tweet may be labeled if it includes a video, audio or image that may have been deceptively altered or fabricated. Twitter is very clearly implying that Sambit Patra's tweet has contents that were deceptively altered or perhaps completely fabricated, sir.
Gaurav ji, there is an old saying, "Chor ki dadi mein tinka," and the sheer desperation of the Congress party and their representative on the television in giving an explanation is displaying their they don't have any answer to it. They cannot be so many coincidences. The profile of Soumya.
You are the ones who are desperate.
Ma'am,
You are desperate, deceiving, deception. Shut up.
Okay. Ma'am. Please have the patience.
Respond, Mr. Paswan. Go
Please
on.
have the patience. This is unacceptable.
Oh, please go
There
on.
cannot be so many coincidences, Gaurav ji. There cannot be so many coincidences. Only today in the newspaper it came that a hospital in Kota, they said कि कांग्रेस के लोगों से फोन करवाइए तब हम आपको जगह देंगे.
We are talking about the toolkit. Talk about that. Let's talk about the issue on hand. I was just told that, so I'm reminding you.
Okay, one by one.
Please ask Supriya ji to have some patience and grace. This is no way to debate.
Oh, please, don't give me sanctimonious gyan.
Okay, complete your point, sir, before I bring in Supriya again.
I have to categorically say that there are so many evidences available in the public domain. Even the courts would see that. Today only in Kota, there is a report in the newspaper कि कांग्रेस के पार्टी से फोन करवाइए आप, कांग्रेस के नेता से फोन करवाइए, तब हम आपको अस्पताल देंगे. कमलनाथ जो मध्य प्रदेश के मुख्यमंत्री हैं, कमलनाथ is categorically saying that आग लगाने का समय है. What are you trying to do, ma'am? This is an unprecedented time.
What is he saying? I didn't even know him.
We must come together. This is the time. This is the time to come together and fight this together, ma'am. This is no time to do politics.
Okay, Supriya Srinath, do you want to quickly respond to a very direct allegation being leveled by the BJP that that alleged toolkit spoke of Youth Congress helping people as a PR exercise and hospital beds in friendly hospitals will only be given once cleared by the High Command? Guru Prakash Paswan claims that's exactly what's happening in Kota, Rajasthan.
Okay, with all due respect to the spokesperson, I do not know what is he trying to say here, because the desperation is on part of the BJP. When we are facing a pandemic of this magnitude and India is worse affected, I think the government should have listened to some very constructive suggestions that came in from the Congress party, whether it was vaccination or treatment or oxygen availability. Having said that, I just want to put out a very, very brief point. You know, Youth Congress has helped BJP leaders. Go and ask your MPs like VK Singh or Hansraj Meena, who are your MPs asking for help. And I don't think there is anything wrong with helping anybody at this point in time. If you have the resources and if you have the intention, I think you need to help everybody who's seeking help. Please ask your MPs. Your MPs are seeking help. Your MLAs are on record to say in UP, people from the Congress have helped us. But if we say this, you know, we will be facing Deshdroh ka charge lag jayega hum par.
I have a national affairs editor. You know, that point taken entirely, Supriya Srinath. Help must be given by all, especially in this very distressing time. Rahul Srivastav just joining us. Rahul, if I may, one aspect, whether it's Congress or BJP, one very disturbing aspect in this alleged toolkit is about Kumbh versus Eid, and this is where both the Congress and the BJP should want a police investigation in this matter and whoever is the author of the toolkit punished. Rahul.
Yes, Gaurav. This is the first thing that the BJP should have done. Instead of heading towards a press conference or releasing them in public domain, I think a police case was a must. If you look at the intermediary rules in India and also the new proposed rules which are being pursued by the government, intermediaries are expected to look into such content and take them off or act against them in case there is any incendiary or objectionable element to them.
Yes.
If you recall, several posts, nearly 1,100 of them were removed when during the farm stir, the government found them to be objectionable following security agencies and others indicating to Twitter. Now, there is a raging controversy or debate over this fact that what is objectionable, what is manipulated and others, and what right do intermediaries like Twitter, Facebook and others do have. If you recall that in the USA, similar thing had happened to the account of Mr. Donald Trump.
Yes.
That when there were incendiary remarks from him, that handle was marked as problematic. And that is why what the government is trying to say is that till an investigation is over in the matter, Twitter should remain inactive. That's where it enters into a gray zone that if there is an objectionable content, Twitter, can it act or not?
Okay, Supriya wants to come in quickly. 30 seconds that I have on the show. Supriya Srinath, go ahead, ma'am.
No, I just want to very briefly make a point. एक हिंदी में कहावत होती है कड़वा कड़वा थूक और मीठा मीठा गप. Till it serves my purpose, Twitter is the last word. When it stops serving my purpose, Twitter should stop acting. This kind of double speak from the elected government of the day cannot be taken into account.
Okay.
You have removed posts on Facebook and Twitter because it did not serve your purpose. And now when you caught red-handed forging a document, you want Twitter to remain inactive. What sort of double speak is this?
Okay, Guru Prakash Paswan, you want to quickly respond to that very direct allegation? That's all I have time for now.
I have a very small observation. This is the same Twitter that said smash Brahminical patriarchy. When my friend from the Congress party has become a spokesperson on Twitter, can she also say that she endorses that? This is a politics of convenience.
What is he talking about?
Please do some introspection.
What is he
This
talking
is the
about?
politics
Who's
of
this
convenience,
man?
ma'am. You cannot do that. You
What is he
cannot do
talking
this.
about?
You cannot do this. This is the politics of
Concoction.
convenience that you are
Apologize
Okay.
and move on.
Clearly,
You need to do the
clearly
BJP
a police
is the
investigation is currently underway and we need to see that this investigation is speedily carried out and the guilty punished. Supriya Srinath, Guru Prakash Paswan and Rahul Srivastav, many thanks for joining me. A quick break here. On the other side, an India Today exclusive report.